The instant she smirked, a familiar weight settled into my chest, the kind that warns you chaos is coming, disguised in ordinary words. "Don't be so dramatic. It's just flirting," she said, her tone teasing, almost casual, as if nothing had shifted beneath our feet. I stared at her for a long moment, letting the silence stretch between us, giving her the impression that her words landed exactly as she intended. Inside, however, I felt nothing but clarity. 5 years of marriage, a life measured in routines and quiet compromises, had brought us here. In the early days, her laughter had captivated me, turning mundane moments into memories I thought I'd carry forever. But the past year had been different. Subtle lines appeared on her face. Tiny shifts in tone that once went unnoticed now felt deliberate, a rehearsal she perfected over countless nights. I rose slowly, a deliberate movement without panic or desperation. In my hand, the papers lay folded neatly, the culmination of months of careful preparation. Each word precise, every detail accounted for. I extended them toward her without a word, my smile calm, almost imperceptible. Not mockery, not triumph, just a quiet acknowledgement of truth. The room hung heavy with tension, her eyes flicking between the papers and me, searching for a trace of the man she thought she knew. Then I saw it, the subtle falter in her confidence. The woman who believed she could manipulate emotions with casual remarks was confronted with quiet resolve instead. Her smirk wavered, a shadow retreating under the morning sun. She opened the papers, fingers trembling slightly as they traced the edges, reading words that carried finality. This wasn't anger nor desperation. It was simple, undeniable truth. No explanation was needed beyond what had been written. For a moment, silence reigned, broken only by the faint hum of the air conditioner, a mundane sound now oddly ironic. I could see her calculating, the part of her that always saw control, trying to assess the damage, seeking a way to regain the upper hand. But there was none. Every manipulation, every excuse she'd ever relied on was neutralized by the calm certainty in my posture and the unshakable steadiness of my gaze. It wasn't revenge nor satisfaction. It was clarity. True power requires no theatrics. Control is most effective when quiet and absolute. As she read, the realization spread across her face. I would not beg, not plead, and not return to the dynamic that had eroded our foundation piece by piece. I stepped back, letting the papers rest between us, a silent barrier and final statement. She swallowed, hesitated, then looked up, searching for compromise. There was none. My calm, measured smile carried more weight than any raised voice ever could. The balance of our life had shifted, and I would no longer lean toward chaos. She looked away first, as if meeting my gaze would force acknowledgement of her miscalculation. The papers had done their work, not through threats or accusations, but through resolve she could neither charm nor argue against. I stayed silent, letting the quiet speak louder than words. I remembered the years that led us here, the laughter that once filled our home, the whispered promises at night, and the subtle compromises that slowly reshaped us into people we barely recognized. Those memories were not bitter, merely reminders of what had been and what could no longer remain. In that stillness, I realized letting go was not failure. It was acknowledging truth and accepting what could not be changed. She folded the papers slowly, hands lingering on the edges as though imprinting their weight into memory. I watched without impatience, without desire for apology, without a trace of regret. It was not cruelty, it was comprehension. Some things, once broken, cannot be repaired. Some actions cannot be undone. Finally, her voice broke the silence, quiet, hesitant, searching. But I had already made my choice. With one last measured glance, I turned away, leaving the room as it was. Charged, empty, irrevocably altered. The papers remained on the table, a testament to the clarity I claimed and the life I was ready to reclaim. Outside, the world carried on in its ordinary rhythm, unaware of the quiet revolution that had occurred within those walls. And in that ordinary rhythm, I found extraordinary peace, dignity, and the unshakable understanding that I would no longer surrender to drama masquerading as reality.